So in the last video we have seen add student method that is there, observable students, and the student view model is there and call that API with the post method like that. So how to add that is the student, and now in this video tutorial I'm going to add a new method that is the delete. Okay, so here we have a methods. Now that is the method that is there, delete student, with the ID number. ID is the number, observable type of the students, and the return, this is the HTTP client dot delete student, this dot base URI, and API students, that is the controller name, and delete student is the name of the action method. So you can check in the Visual Studio delete student. So here we have a delete student, like delete student with their ID property. So here we have a ID property, and the controller name is the students. So like that, the calling the API students and delete student. And in this method you can see that call just delete with the student. Okay, so here we have, now in the student component.ts file, here we have a delete student, where the data is student service, that is the variable name of the student service. The call a delete student with the pass their student ID, and the success response in the subscribe method, we have a snack bar dot open method, that is the student deleted undefined, and duration is 3000, that is in the milliseconds, and with the set timeout with the router configuration, router dot navigate by URL, that is the proper URL, that is the students. So delete method is clear. Now just go for the update students, and here we have a similar we have a update student method with the subscribe methods, with the success response is also there. So how to resolve this these error, and just after adding that function with the student ID and the student data. So here we have a update student, you can see, and update student with the ID property, and the update student view model. So ID is not exist, so there is the method where we have. So just add that student, add that update student method inside it here. So add update student method at here, update student with their ID number and the student view model, and here we have a student, that is the type of, that is, there is the model actually. So you can see that that is the model. So and in the view model where we have a student view model, so just you can replace with the model. Okay, so in the update section we have just passed the ID number as well as the student model. In the return, this is to add HTTP client dot put method, and the base URI, and the API students update student. Okay, so here we have a update student method with their ID property and the VM. Here we have a VM and the student view model, name, birth date, email, contact, gender, ID, physical address, and the postal address. So update student is clear. Now similarly, just open the TS file of the view student data, and here you can see that update student method is clear. Okay, so now the three methods, that is add, delete, and update student is clear. Now after that we can resolve the issue related to the if a student is new, just change the data. Okay, so how to get this data? Now the three operation is clear, like update, delete, and add students. Now come for the next section, that is the profile DP, and right now the profile DP is empty, that is the property profile DP is empty. But you know that when we first time when your application is loaded, then gender list will be updated according to the male, female, and I mean to say that gender list is calling. So here we have a student service, and you can say that first of all get all genders from the API, and API is their genders controller, and get all genders. So just create a new method in the service, that where we get all the genders. Okay, and here is the code, get all genders with the observable type of gender, and return this .http client get a gender with the base URI, and that is the URI where just I want to get all the genders list, and also use it here that service method, that is get all genders. So here is the code where you just want to call that service method, that is get all genders, by using the student service, and with the subscribe there is success response data, student data, bind the genders list. So here we have a genders list, that is empty array. So the genders list is bind with the genders data. Now the next thing is to add that is the 3 flag values, that is the header, label, profile db, and is new. So just update it when user is new. Okay, the next thing is to add that code in your application, and that code is route.parammap.subscribe. And what is the route at here? So here we have a route like that, student service snack bar, but router is not router, route is there. So just add a route, sorry, private route, route, okay. And the code is activated route. Okay, so just get the route .parammap.subscribe params, and this .id is params.get id value. Okay, so just in the URL get the value from the URL of the id property, and this .id is not null. If it is not null, then this .id, and if this .id is to lowercase, if add, just I want to pass that add dot to lowercase, then is new property is true, and header label is add new student, and that is method. Just later I will discuss on that. In the else part, is new is false. I mean to say that you just go for the update and the delete for, and if it is lowercase in the parameter, so in the place of id is here add, then you go for the create. Okay, is new is false, and header label is update student, and student service dot get a student with their id property. So just call that get a student, get all student, but not a single student at here. So just create a single student with their id property, and the subscribe is the success response as well as default image. So later I will discuss on the default image, but at right time that is discussed to get a student by their single data from the API. So create a get a student with the id property parameters, and here is the code where you want to get the student, get student. There is the get student method with the id is string type, observable is student, and the get student base URI API students, and get student with their id property. So in the student controller we have get student, that is the get student with their id property. Okay, so here we have all these things. Now in the students component you can check again if this is if this .id is there, and this .id is lowercase with the add to lowercase, and new is true, otherwise new is false. So here we have the code. Okay, one parameter is off. Okay, everything is fine. Okay, okay, now the ng on it is clear. Thank you very much for watching this video, and keep watching all other videos which is related to ASP.NET Core with the Angular projects with the CRUD operations. Thank you very much.